The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there and welcome to Databank Brawl, the podcast where we learn about Star Wars characters, discuss them, share our little feelings about those characters, and then make them fight for our amusement and yours. I'm your host. My name is Joseph Scrimshaw. With me, as always, is Ken Napzok.
Here, no whiskey, but 100% me.
Yeah, we usually have whiskey on this show.
Usually we do.
We've gotten out of the habit, and it's bad. It's bad to get out of the habit of drinking alcohol during podcasts.
Probably good in the long term for you and I, but bad.
Yeah, I'm
going
to bizarro shame myself for not drinking enough. We'll get back to it. It's been a staple of the show.
Yeah.
Whiskey will be back as a special guest, but we have an even better guest.
We do.
Than Whiskey. We have great interviewer, podcaster. Do you podcast? No, videocast.
Yeah, I started a podcast, actually. I've done one episode, so technically true.
Podcaster. Awesome videos on his YouTube channel, Jamie Stangroom.
Thank you for having me, and I'm offended by the lack of whiskey. Is it because I'm British and you think I might get out of control? Because I'm not Scottish, to be specific. I'm English.
Okay.
We're only borderline alcoholics.
Now, I'm going to float this past... We're in Ken's home. I'm going to float this past Ken. I know I left a bottle of Jameson here.
You have.
Now, we can keep recording. Jamie and I can chat for a moment if you want to fetch some whiskey.
I'll gladly fetch some whiskey. If you want it, sir, I'd be honored.
I look,
I'm getting it.
Okay.
This is how we roll at ForceCenter.
Let's do it.
Surprises. So for people who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about your video channel that is Star Wars focused?
Yeah, Star Wars fan, of course, and I have been doing interviews for a lot of my working life with musicians and what have you, and wanted to chat to Star Wars people, really. So set up a YouTube channel, and around the time of The Force Awakens, and really focused on the kind of niche characters that we celebrate, that nobody casual, fan kind of level-wise would know of. Go out and find them, like your low-grade Ewok, the guy who played Jabba the Hutt's tail as well. Gonk droids, interview them, get their story, make little audition tapes with them to see if they've still got what it takes, maybe getting back in a future film. So that's really the premise of what I've been doing. But that's sort of expanded into occasionally, big names like Frank Oz recently, and Billy D. Williams as well.
Yeah, and then you do like other sort of random fun Star Wars comedy on the channel?
Yeah, so I'm trying to find a stormtrooper who bumped his head because there are 3 actors who claim to be the one, and it's therefore turned into an investigation. And I guess the audition tapes that I mentioned within the interviews are kind of fun as well, like Eric Balsfeld, who's unfortunately passed away, the voice of Admiral Akbar. He performed It's a Trap in different styles for me. So we had like an excited one, or a sexy one, an English gentleman one, which is, it's an elaborate ruse. And he was...
So your whiskey.
Thank you very much. I can confirm there is whiskey in my hand now and soon to be in my body. I might change dramatically in seconds. But yeah, he was like 93 years old or something when I spoke to him. And the voice was still there.
That resonant, powerful, you believed it was a trap.
And at the time, and he didn't know that he was going off to do The Force Awakens. He hadn't been asked. And I was like, this film's coming out really soon, and we know Akbar's back, and you've not been asked. But they did call him back, and unfortunately passed away before The Last Jedi, so that's not him.
Okay. But it is in Force Awakens.
Cheers to this international edition of Databank Brawl.
That is right. And then just really quickly, to get a sense of where you come from, what introduced you to Star Wars? What was your first Star Wars?
I think like a lot of people, I was sort of born into it without even knowing what it was, but it was always around me, and that was in the form of my big brother, really. Okay. He's now in his early 40s, and he had all the toys, which were then obviously passed me downs to me and my little brother, and always on TV at Christmas time as well. And I guess the real kind of explosion was the special editions, because that's when I got to go to the cinema and actually see it on the big screen and really feel it.
Okay. Awesome. And as the prequels came out, were you did you enjoy parts of them? Were you not liking them? Where were you at with the prequels?
Generally, I'm cool with the prequels. I loved Revenge of the Sith. I won a competition to go to the premiere in Leicester Square in London.
Really?
Me and my mate, it was my first year of moving to London for uni. And my mate from home came to visit me because they were having a Star Wars day in Leicester Square in all the different theatres playing the originals. And we went to watch The Empire Strikes Back, and they did a draw. We didn't know about this. They did a draw before it started with seat numbers. And my mate got picked out for 2 tickets that night to the premiere of Revenge of the Sith.
That's insane.
Fast forward, I don't know, 4 hours later, and
Did you have time to get a tux?
few tequilas. Black skinny jeans and a t-shirt. I'm rubbing shoulders with George Lucas and Hayden Christensen, and it was just the most surreal. I was sat next to David Walliams and Simon Pegg, and it was just the most surreal.
Wow, that's amazing.
Star Wars moment, and at the time was supposed to be the last ever Star Wars film, of course. So I have fond memories of the prequels. The Phantom Menace is, in my opinion, the weakest, even though I was obviously the youngest when it came out, so wasn't young enough to love it, wasn't old enough to hate it, but Revenge of the Sith, I'm a fan of.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. I should have asked these questions before I prepared today's episode, because we have a special Phantom Menace-oriented brawl that's going to happen here today.
I love that, though. That means Jamie's not emotionally connected strongly to some of the characters. Maybe. We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Sometimes we discover things as we tell our story. So here is going to be our first combatant. Is everyone ready for our first combatant?
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
Roger.
Our first combatant is TC-14.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Here is what the StarWars.com databank has to say about TC-14. As I see expressions of confusion and whiskey across the room, TC-14 was a protocol droid with feminine programming that was in the employ of the Trade Federation on their Profiteer-class droid control ship, Sakak? She showed Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn to a conference room where she offered them refreshments as they waited for the Trade Federation to murder the Jedi with the toxic gas dioxis.
That's not in the whiskey, is it?
That's not
There's no dioxis in this at all. Yeah, so this is how we always do it, Jamie. We read these StarWars.com databank entries, and that in itself is fascinating because this is official information from Lucasfilm. Sometimes they have surprising details. The very first episode we did was it featured Dengar. It's real judgy. They call him slovenly. I think they call him ugly. Real judgy. So there's some interesting things in here. I never knew the name of the droid control ship.
Yeah, and that's a weird one. Sakak.
Yeah, it's SAAK apostrophe AK.
So Star Warsy.
Sakak? It's a very... When I said it out loud, I realized I'm getting really close to some dangerous phrases.
Dangerous word. TC-14. Wow.
Yeah, TC-14, the protocol droid in the poisoning room. So, Ken, do you have any additional information or description from Wikipedia?
The description is pretty much as you described. Not much an addition there. It was TC-14 was played by John Fensom, voiced by Lindsay Duncan. But in terms of stats, like we like to throw in there for maybe helping Jamie with how we choose this fight, the height is 1.67 meters. Feminine programming, as Joseph said, and as a TC series protocol droid, as said as well. So nothing else. We know silver plating is the big standout visual feature there.
Yeah. So let's talk then a little bit about feelings, because there's not a lot to go deep on this character about. Do we have any feelings? Now, I should be clear that we've done many episodes of Databank Brawl, so we still got some big names saved up, but this is kind of your oeuvre. We're getting into the very small characters.
Yeah, I have nothing to add, by the way, about the background of this character, but I guess the feelings have to be strong towards this character, because whatever your views on the Phantom Menace, at this point, you were so pumped. You were so pumped. Even before that gas pumped, you know?
Yeah.
You were, So when you said the name, I didn't know. It didn't ring any bell, but as soon as Ken got the picture up, I was like, oh yeah, with the little tray of drinks on. And this was, feelings wise, there's a moment. There's a moment in my life. There is a moment. Yeah. Because I remember seeing a Phantom Menace, and I remember it was all cool. It was all cool at this point. And, the battle droids roll out, don't they? We see the battle droids for the first time, and does she drop the drinks? Does the tray? Am I now thinking of?
No, because they have
handed them the drinks.
Yeah, they have the drinks.
They sit down at a table, and then the droid leaves. And then that's when there's something not quite right here.
They sense it, and then she goes and says, the ambassadors are Jedi Knights, I believe.
Yes.
And that causes
the spilling drinks thing I'm getting blurred between Jabba's sail barge here, aren't I?
Yes.
Drinks being served and...
Yeah.
I love to have that memory that you've gone 20 years thinking TC-14 threw the tray up into the air and ran out screaming.
I think this character is powerful in that way that you're mentioning, where you're sitting down to watch Phantom Menace for the first time, particularly if you have already, were seeing it for the first time growing up with the original trilogy in any way. And it's a question of how much is it going to be same, how much is it going to be different. And TC-14 is in this sweet spot of like, oh, it's another protocol droid just like 3PO, but different.
And glam, because, of course, we were used to the sort of beaten-up droids, protocol droids. All droids were beaten up, a bit dirty and rusty. But, of course, everything's shiny and pretty new. And I think this is our first sort of, do I need sunglasses on for this film? You know?
Yeah.
And you see
the protocol droids are too bright. Yeah. I need shades.
I love glam 3PO.
I have kind of the same feeling, and you guys have both touched on it. You're so right, JB. Like at the beginning, you're trying to figure it out, but then, just like Joseph said, this droid shows up, and you're like, oh, more protocol droids, more 3POs. We get a whole, and they're clean and shiny, and oh, you're in this world. And
they serve alcohol.
They serve alcohol or whatever they think it is. I have positive feelings for TC-14. It's also one of the names early on when you're studying for trivia. Yeah. Joseph and I do a lot of Star Wars trivia, JB, with the movie Trivia Schmodown and whatnot. Like, it's one of the names you pick up early on in your Star Wars fandom.
I think that's why I have a fond connection, because TC-14 has been locked and loaded since 1999.
Right.
I think we're all experiencing that with the new movies. When you sit down as a fan, you're like, I know everything from the previous movies, and it's that weird experience to have like, I don't know the name of that thing. So like TC-14 was one of the first characters like I memorized in 1999 because I wanted to know everything.
Yep.
It's like, I think TC-14 also has a good like comedy take, like at something the Nemodians say.
Yes.
I think it's that they might not survive this.
Well, yes, and then they send her back to take care of them?
That's what it is.
And she kind of say, huh?
Yeah, like, what, me? Yeah. She's got a good little comedy take.
I just said they're Jedi.
You deal with them.
Yeah.
So I think that we should keep that in mind, that glam C-3PO, who's good at comedy takes.
Comedy double
that
takes.
Will inform our fight here today. Are you ready for your next contestant?
Yes.
Also from The Phantom Menace, competing against TC-14 will be Gasgano.
Oh, here we go.
Here's what the StarWars.com databank has to say about Gasgano. A slight, spindly, six-limbed alien, Gasgano was a thrill-seeker, uniquely suited to the extreme sport of pod racing. Gasgano was very competitive and sought to beat racers Anakin Skywalker and Sebulba during the Bunta Eve pod race. He piloted a green Ord Pedrovia pod racer in the competition.
We love our pod racers.
Yeah,
here.
we've been making it our way through our weird little pod racers, and we have not got to Gasgano.
Yeah, Gasgano. We're going to need to do a physical description here. I'm going to have to do an image search while you guys discuss. But so you said Homeworld, White Trocan?
No, that's on. I think that's on.
A Zexto male.
A Zexto male.
Zexto male. Xexto. Ned Flanders is rolling around with all the X letters thrown around here in his face. Trocan is the planet of the homeworld. Troiken. Troiken. I like this name. Male species, like I said, height 1.22 meters. Okay. So TC-14 has the advantage. Eye color black, skin color white, brown, and purple. And then while Jamie, you talk a little bit here and react, I'm going to look up some images because I want to see you get the whole physical.
Because this is definitely one of the weird. So how did you feel about the pod racers in particular? This collection of aliens that had pretty different designs compared to the original trilogy.
Yeah. I didn't like the pod racing scene, People picked out at that and the Duel of Fates moment, the freeway lightsaber duel as one of the moments in the Phantom Menace. I never enjoyed it even at the time in my younger years, and I can see the N64 game there as well. I never liked that either, or the arcade version. I just don't like pod racing. Yeah. I just don't. I'm sorry, guys. Is this the point where I leave?
No.
Can I finish my whiskey first? I never enjoyed the pod race, and Sebulba annoyed me, and I don't know. And Watto kind of... No, actually, I quite like Watto.
Yeah.
Watto is kind of cool. But I don't remember Gasgano, and the sort of glimpse of a picture I got initially there from Ken was that, it's like some facially owl-type features, or did I...
That's accurate.
Yeah.
A long neck, not quite Jarl Poof neck, but not far off.
Yeah.
Long neck, tiny head, big eyes, owl-like eyes, but more like a turtle face. And then imagine a more arachnid General Grievous. 4 arms, long, spindly arms with long fingers, alien-like fingers, like a classic Martian type of like sucker fingers, and then long legs, a small abdomen, and big feet though.
Great
big
cake
feet.
song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then wears kind of this like a Lawrence of Arabia kind of goggles hat combo, you know, with the with the little I'm going to call head cape flowing down his neck.
So less glam, more rugged kind of looks here. Was he, remind me, was Gasgano an honest racer, or was he one of the cheats? Because there were a lot of cheats out there on the track.
There was a lot of cheats.
There were a lot of cheats. I don't think he directly cheated. He did. I looked this up on Wikipedia. He finished second.
Okay.
Yes,
So
that's
a place of honor, really, from most of them who got knocked out of the race.
I think he was mostly honest. Yeah.
So he wasn't he wasn't one of the ones taken out by Sebulba, who was king of the cheats. I guess.
No. I think he tried, but old Gasgano. Yeah, this is great. I pulled up his image too, and really, I think it is important, very important for people to know how small his torso is. Look at that; he is all limbs.
Yeah.
Wow.
If he was a bug, that's a tiny little thorax.
Yeah.
Do you think they have like doping control after pod racing races? You have it in every other sport in our world, at least.
Yeah. I think they would have to. I think, there's a spice check for
death
sure.
Sticks, haven't you?
Sticks.
Intergalactic Pod Racing Organization does a test for PEDs.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sebulba is paying people to put tainted urine in the tests of Gasgano.
Totally. I think that's what Quinlan Voss was doing in Phantom Menace. He was going undercover to expose the doping in pod racing.
That's right. One of the important justices, ignoring the slavery on Tatooine, taking care of the doping in pod racing.
Absolutely.
So Ken, how did you feel? We've talked about pod races in general. Do you have any particular feeling towards Gasgano, or just the general like super weird design of the aliens?
Unlike our fine friend here, I actually do enjoy the pod racing. I do like that sequence. I do agree the pod race. You didn't say this, but I've heard other people say the pod race is a little too long. I can see that. It goes on for a while, but I think Lucas wanted to highlight racing because this was his chance to do that. But I do love just the weird pod race characters. Some of them are completely silly. Ben Quadraneros is completely silly, a cartoon character. I get it, but I've always liked Gasgano. It's also one of the first names I remembered from the pod race. Rats Tyrell I know now only from this show.
Yeah.
He's the one that dies, and Databank revealed, Jamie, that Rats Tyrell had a family.
Oh.
He brought his whole family to watch him race, and he died.
So they hate pod racing as well. It's not just me.
No, the Tyrell family and Jamie Stangroom both hate pod racing. Equally.
But I do like Gasgano.
Yeah. I have come to, my reaction was that, because Lucas had his CGI and, he, in the original trilogy, aliens for the most part had to be generally humanoid shape. And then for the pod race, he went really crazy. They can be all sorts of different shapes. And at first, I wasn't sure about that. And now, in the intervening years, I've come to love the variety of body types.
Yeah, I'm all for different body types. I will not do any body shaming here with you now, or when I leave here and go out into the world. That's not my style. I just I love Tatooine as a planet. I'm happy to go back there at any point in any future film. I love seeing new species, and that was one of the great things about the prequels. Some people might say perhaps the what he had available to him in terms of special effects and improved costume making maybe went too far, but I loved seeing the new species. I just don't like racing. I don't like Formula One. I don't like racing cars in our world, let alone in others. That's all.
That's where it makes sense where it comes from.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think we have a lot of strong feelings as we go into this battle between TC-14 and Gasgano. So let's fight. Now, we always like to start with just kind of the when and where. We go kind of crazy with canon, but I like to set it before the characters have died. Neither of these characters have died canonically, but TC-14 was probably on Sakak.
Yeah.
But we could imagine, if we want to set it after the events of Phantom Menace, we can certainly imagine that TC-14 was sharp enough to get into some sort of escape pod or get the hell out of there, or we can set it before the events of Phantom Menace.
I think a little after.
A little
after. We got 10 years between Phantom Menace and Clones. And I think TC-14, when her bosses asked her to go take down Jedi, she was like, nuts, I'm out of here.
No, yeah, and they're using droids for war?
Yeah, droid revolution. Revolution. I think so. I think it's after. I don't know the planet yet. I have maybe a setup, but I don't know what you guys think about planet. You could, we do a lot on Tatooine, but Gasgano's not Tatooine based. So
no, he goes wherever the pod racing is. I mean, Gasgano really wants to win. He came in second, so he's got to be feeling that as our story begins. Right. Do you have you said you really like Tatooine. Do you have another favorite planet?
Let's say after. I agree with after, by the way, because if I was on a sinking ship, my bar staff would be on the escape pod with me as well, for sure. Planet-wise, I've always, because I'm not, I've said this to you before, like I have a lot of stupid hair on my head, and I love Wookiees, not just for that reason. I do model my appearance on a Wookiee, but I love Chewie, and that was the best thing about Solo for me, a bit of Chewie backstory on the big screen.
Yeah.
And I always feel like, I was disappointed not to see Kashyyyk on that during that film, and I feel like it wasn't really explored very well in Revenge of the Sith, or at least too briefly. So that is up there in one of my, maybe not favourite planets, but a planet I'd like to know more about, see more of, and maybe therefore it'd be fun to fantasize with.
Yeah, I love this. I want to go to...
Kashyyyk's great.
Kashyyyk, this will only add more variety to the fight.
And Kashyyyk is great on Battlefront 2. It's a beautiful map.
Yeah,
I've talked before, when I'm playing Battlefront 2, sometimes I just go sneak around and get lost in the huts and everything.
I just want to be able to put on a swimming suit and go walk into the waters of Kachiro Beach. Yes. I want to be there.
That's right. So Kashyyyk is great. I think perhaps TC-14, after leaving the Trade Federation, found employment with the Intergalactic Pod Racing Association and is now scouting for possible new racing locations. And Kashyyyk is on that list, and that brings her there.
Yeah, I think, in fact, she scouted it out, and she is setting up a very unique pod race where you have to weave around the trees.
Ooh,
now, there's a little bit of a path, like it hits some of the beach, the Kachiro Beach, in fact, but then there's some really dangerous parts where you have to weave through,
Maybe go up and around trees? Ooh, elevated racing?
This is a health and safety mission, essentially.
Yeah. This is terrible. I mean, this is incredibly dangerous. Like, I think what it's starting to come to my mind is like maybe TC-14 is a little not too happy with organics, and sure, I'll set up a race where you all die. It's an incredibly difficult race, and of course, Gasgano, right? He wants to prove himself. He's not going to say no to any challenge, so he comes to this. You know what? It's the Life Day Classic. Why not? We're on
the
Kashyyyk.
Life Day Classic. Indeed,
Life Day Classic. It's the first annual Life Day Classic on Kashyyyk. Now,
I'm envisioning, and if Brian Ward's listening, I'm envisioning a Life Day Classic pod racing poster. See it. I could see it. Okay, yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
And Gasgano, so this is a full-on race? Or is Gasgano that's just there?
I think she's you know what? Here, how about we say this? She's setting up the race, and individual pod racers are visiting and signing up and saying here's the course. It's the most dastardly dangerous course that has ever been set up for a pod race. Do you dare take on the challenge of the Life Day Classic?
Is Gasgano still a big deal? Because I'm wondering, with Sebulba and Anakin being taken out of the equation in the kind of rankings, if you like, of pod racing, is he still a big deal, or is his career gone? I mean, are we at the top of our game here at Kashyyyk with the Life Day Classic, or is this a bit of a testimonial kind of thing? It's
a great question, Jamie, and I think that Gasgano, if there was a pod racing convention circuit, he would be saying, I was number 2 in the Boonta Eve Classic. And
I'd be signing that
I'd be signing that card for a while, but he knows he has to get to the next level, and winning this type of race is valuable to him.
Yeah, he's trying to change his own story. So I think doing a super dangerous one, he feels like, well, maybe this will get rid of some of the competition, right? So we always like to decide what the characters sound like. So, Jamie, when you see an image of Gasgano, do you have an idea of what he sounds like as he walks up and signs up for the Life Day Classic?
You see, I pictured an owl for some reason, just from the face, but then it's really not owl-like rest of it. So that wasn't what I imagined.
That wasn't the Gasgano impression.
I'm going with a.
So he doesn't speak in basic.
He's an owl.
Okay, he's an owl. Okay. This is going to be great. So we'll do that
owl
a lot.
face at least anyway.
And we'll interpret what it means.
With TC-14, it's probably fluent, maybe not 6 million forms of communication, but maybe at least 4 billion.
Oh, I think, What species was he?
Exto?
Extoan?
Yeah,
so she
Extoan?
can speak Extoan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think TC-14 has opened the sign up. It's at
sign
the
up.
base of a big tree. It's on the beach.
She's like Tracy Flick in Election. She has cupcakes out and a paper to sign up.
That's right. And there are hollow journalists there who cover sports in Star Wars land. They don't call it that. They don't know.
Do we have the commentators there as well?
Oh, Foden Bead? Sure. That is my personal lowest Star Wars character, but I would be happy to have them there. So Foden Bead are there, and they're everybody's tense for this because they think like this is really no one's going to show up. No one's really going to have the guts to do this insane course.
Who's funded this all, by the way?
I think that's a mystery. I think TC-14 is the face of it, and everybody assumes that the droid has got to be working for maybe the Hutts,
Right.
Or paying the Wookiees or something. But they think it's a fun mystery.
I mean, it's too early for Crimson Dawn.
Yeah.
Black Sun, maybe. Who
Black
knows?
Sun?
Who knows?
Maybe, yeah. So I think it's this incredible, beautiful scene where they announce it. Foden Beat are like, well, who's going to show up? Yeah. Is anybody going to sign up?
It's like pregame. It's like NFL pregame stuff here.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
Chris Berman and Foden Beat are right here. We're live down at the racetrack. Who's going to be here?
Who has the guts?
I heard Ben Quadraderos was seen walking around. I don't know.
Does he have the face for it? And suddenly, a pod racer races in, and then ejecting from the cockpit is Gasgano. He launches through the air. He lands on the sign up at this. You know what? On the sign up table,
On the sign-up table.
right in front of TC-14, and he says, "What, Jamie?"
Oh, sorry. That was it. Yeah.
And Ken, TC-14 translates this so everyone
I
can
am
understand.
familiar with over 4 million forms of communication. You're an ex-Toan who's just brazenly challenged the challenged the safety of my race, saying that I have created an unsafe race. I disagree. I think you need to have the metal for this.
Okay, so TC-14. So Gasgano has questioned.
He said, he basically said, this is dangerous. You know it.
Okay.
What are you trying to pull here?
Oh, wow. Okay, so Gasgano is not... Foden Beat are losing their minds. Like, oh, my God, we thought he was just going to say yes, but instead, he's here for an exciting debate about safety ethics. Ooh, ooh, and their heads go back and forth.
And then there's a Wookiee with a clipboard come out to sort of demonstrate the tests that have gone into this and the practice laps they've already...
It's Corporal Tarful at this point. Comes out.
So I think TC-14, in fact, says, like, look, the Wookiees have tested this. Please hear from Corporal Tarful. And what does Corporal Tarful sound like?
I'll let the Wookiee fan say it.
You know, I'm terrible at Wookiee.
So am I.
Doesn't matter.
If you get me first thing in the morning, it's not so bad, but... That's red tape stuff, basically.
There's a nice officious Wookiee when they're not like really proud of something, but just like, yep.
Simple as that.
Here we do.
It's on the clipboard.
Look, I measured the meters.
Tap, tap, tap.
It works. So faced with this, in the cameras in his face, Gasgano has to either stand up to his back his initial assessment that it's too dangerous, or just say, yes, I'll do this. Does he stand true to his belief that it is too dangerous? Is he standing up for all podcasters, or is he taking the risk, Ken?
Podcasters or pod racers?
Pod racers, which I always do when we talk about pod racers, and I've had a little bit of whiskey. It always becomes... I hate the podcasting scene in Phantom Menace. It's so long.
I love the image of Gasgano sitting around with some microphones and saying, "Hey guys, with me is Foden Bead." Know them? I think Gasgano puts all 4 of his hands down on the table. Now he's jumped off the table. And I think TC-14 is like, so are you saying that you are too chicken to race? to space chicken to race, as we always say here in ForceCenter. And that's when I think Gasgano says,
Which barely needs any translation. The intent was so clear.
He's getting peeved. He's getting peeved.
Like, how dare you?
But I think Gasgano would want to know at this point how many other racers, competitors have signed up.
yeah,
Because that's important.
yeah.
Yeah, and so far no one else has actually arrived yet.
Right.
And I think that TC-14 pushes back on the peeved and basically says like, "Oh, I was expecting all of you organics who are so proud of your prowess in this dangerous sport to show up, but I guess you are all simply weaklings. You are terrified little creatures like the Nunas on Tatooine." And then she does this expert impression, like we do here on Earth, where you mock someone by pretending to be a chicken. Like, she does an impression of the little Nuna creatures. Just like 3PO is really good at making the noises on Endor, she's like,
Cha-cha, cha-cha, cha-cha,
Because Gasgano does essentially sound like an owl, which is close to a chicken. He takes great offense to this.
great offense.
This is the equivalent of a glove being slapped across Gasgano's face.
And of course, Fode and Beat are there with their cameras to escalate this. Like, it seems as though maybe TC-14 is challenging Gasgano. And TC-14 does, in fact, reach forward and give just a little push right in his head between his big owl eyes.
Whoa, wow.
Little push.
And
his head's got a long neck, right? So
Yeah.
it flies way back. In fact,
Snaps
she
back.
doesn't realize it's a gentle push, but his head falls all the way back and hits his own ass and then flaps back up.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, and for Gasgano as well, just to sort of add insult to injury, he can see exactly what's happening to him in the reflection, of course, of the bling.
yes, in TC-14's chrome body, right?
Yeah.
Excellent use of the glam. Excellent use of the glam.
Yeah. So Gasgano knows he's being filmed, knows he's being called a weakling, and cannot let this stand. So I think Gasgano leaps forth and attacks TC-14. In what way? Throw it open to either of you. How does Gasgano unleash its fury on TC-14?
Feet first.
Ooh.
So Hunt is almost like Sebulba in a way. Hunt goes back on his hands, springboards, boom, feet first, just boom, 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 right into TC-14. Not wasting a moment.
Okay.
Just thunk, 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 thunk.
Yeah.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
I think this just smears sand and sweat,
gets
foot
everywhere,
sweat
yeah.
all over TC-14. I think she goes down
Foot sweat.
hard. Foot sweat and sand
Gasgano foot sweat.
smeared on her perfectly glam exterior. She hits the ground, and I think Gasgano once again jumps up on the table, and I think he proclaims that no one calls him a weakling, and he will sign up for this pod race, not this podcast. He would also do a podcast.
He would.
But he would, the dangerous podcast out there he'd do, but he's signing up for this pod race, and if any droid ever talks to him like that again, they will die. What does that sound like when he proclaims that?
So we've gone from twit-two to twit-two to twit-two. Twit-two. Twit. Yeah, that something along
That's
those
actually
twitwing lines.
That's
I guess.
powerful.
This is now
Yeah.
canon in my head that Gasgano
That's
speaks
how
like
Gasgano-
that.
But how does TC-14 react to the assault? Because obviously, the protocol droid we all know best is 3PO would probably look over to the Wookiee with a clipboard for help at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
Panic-stricken, but TC-14 got a bit more.
I don't think so. I think what this is about in my mind, and Ken, you tell me what you think, because I see the light in your eyes as well.
Ding.
I think that this has been an elaborate ruse by TC-14 to expose to the galaxy the weakness of organics, their fear,
wow.
and how easily bested they are by droid kind. I think she was goading any pod racer foolish enough to show up into a fight. So I think that she launches into combat mode.
Yes. By the way, great observation and question by Jamie there. I think Corporal Tarples, not yet promoted, literally puts his hands up like, oh, none of this. None of this.
Corporate Tarful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Corporal Tarful I always forget Captain Tarfels and Chief
He has to go
Tarfel.
and speak to a supervisor to sign him off.
Yeah, he's just like, this
attack.
is in my jurisdiction.
Yeah, Wookiees aren't naturally violent. They just rise to the occasion
Yeah.
when they need to. Otherwise, they're out.
Yeah.
They're building beautiful tree houses.
He's going to go have a drink with his buddy Chewbacca, who's just getting off.
They're going to
shift.
talk about
Yeah.
their mutual friend Yoda. Yeah. So he walks away from.
He
He
walks
doesn't want to
away.
be a part of this. But I
But
think
TC-14 jumps up, and what we don't know about TC-14 is since when she felt she nearly lost her life at the hands of Jedi, those rapscallions of the galaxy, the scoundrels there, she has had a weapon put into her hands. Ooh. So much like a bad James Bond villain or something like that. Her fingertips remove on her right hand, and a little like laser blaster comes out.
oh, nice.
And she starts firing.
So does she get up or is this from the ground?
She kind of props herself back up. So she
I
gets
like
back.
this. Like, one hand comes up and grabs
Yeah.
a table, and the other one suddenly reveals a blaster.
Protocol droid getting up is interesting. It's kind of like my Kenner action figures because they don't bend at the knee too much there back in the day. But she gets up.
Yeah. She bends halfway up. The fingers drop. The blaster comes out. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah.
Now, what happens, Jamie? Does she hit Gasgano? Does he avoid it in a fancy dance? What happens?
I think her aim is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think she moves pretty good. I mean, she still kept that suit of hers in pristine condition,
Yeah.
and this is someone who does get themselves into scrapes,
Yeah.
but comes out unscathed, as we can still see in the condition of the suit. So I think she hits him, and Gasgano's there to race. Would he necessarily be armed? And if he was armed, would those arms be in the pod racer?
Oh yeah, which is nearby
Does
on
he
the
have
beach.
time?
So you think that she's got good aim? So she hits him.
Yeah, but he's got a lot to hit. He's got how many arms?
4 arms.
Four arms.
Yeah, the arms are everywhere.
8
So I
arms
think
to hold you, yeah.
I think one. I think one arm. I think she shoots straight through one bicep, and I think burning hole.
So one arm down.
Yeah, and I think he screams in absolute pain, which I will of course leave it up to Jamie what that sounds like. A Gasgano screaming in pain.
That was just mashed up with my Wookiee, my bad Wookiee with my bad Gasgano. But anyway,
it kind of makes sense.
hurt.
It hurt, yeah. Burning hole.
Yeah.
He falls back, but he is fast to retaliate. He came here to prove himself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe he does have a blaster hidden in his weird little tunic.
Little holdout blaster.
Little holdout blaster.
And I think what he does is he pulls it out and he like fires. Much like Holdo, he makes a pew sound. It goes, boo! It does, doo. Thank you, sir. It hits TC-14, not a straight up, and it's not a powerful blaster. It smacks up against the chest, giving Gasgano time to get to his pod racer.
Ooh.
He fires up and he takes off. But here's what I'm thinking. We don't do this often. TC-14 jumps on a Wookiee cruiser. I don't know what they have. Speeders. Half wood, half metal, takes off after him.
I don't know the name of them. They have those flying contraptions.
do.
I always imagined they'd have like vehicles from the Flintstones. With pedaling by feet, yeah.
Yeah, so let's make up a Wookiee speeder. It is
Yes.
it is like made out of wood.
It's like one of those Kenner little tiny sets you could get in like 1981 that weren't in the movie, and you were looking the entire time for like the mini walker that was. You had the Kenner set, but it wasn't in the movie. It's like that.
I think it is like on our human Earth. I think it is like a hybrid car where if you get it moving enough, you work up the electrical charge and then it works. So the Wookiees can get their exercise. They run for a while and then it can fly. So
It's like a electric bike, electric Wookiee bike.
yeah.
Okay.
So Gasgano has gotten his pod racer. He's starting it up.
Yeah.
In TC-14, this is comical. Foden Beat are narrating it. She jumps in this this Wookiee half wooden, half electric cruiser speeder, and she's running down the beach. Her legs are going impossibly fast, and people are realizing this is no ordinary protocol droid.
Yeah.
She's maybe souped up, like insanely fast, so the engines are beginning to... and now the pod racer goes up in the air as they can do, Gasgano's pod racer, and TC-14 gets enough energy, so the Wookiee racer, and now suddenly, Gasgano is desperately weaving for his life up among the trees and the homes of Kashyyyk.
Yes. By the way, Foden and Beat are like, wow, we got a race.
And they're trying to keep their cameras on it, but they're having a hard time. They're launching.
And has he gone off track, or is this the official track that he's actually...
I think he's accidentally ended up on the track.
On the
so
official
a little
track.
bit of a pod race is actually happening, and he didn't even mean to do it.
He didn't even mean to do it.
Foden and Beat are calling it because some cameras are set up for the test footage.
They got
and
some of
everything.
those Republic Senate chamber droids are floating around.
Yep.
This is a race he won't finish second in.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is a race for his life, literally, because he is fearing TC-14. So I think TC-14 is out for murder. So as that Wookiee cruiser is getting closer and closer, she reveals even more hidden features. I think first, out of her head opens, and this little, basically kind of like space shower head comes out. And this is how she always keeps herself so clean.
She's become Inspector Gadget, which I love.
Exactly. She washes off the foot sweat.
Yeah.
And then, turns out the shower head is also a detachable grenade.
Wow.
Detachable detonite grenade she launches from her head. A grenade flies at Gasgano's pod racer.
She's so brutal, yet so hygienic at the same time. I love it.
Very clean, very violent. Does this detonite charged shower head hit Gasgano's pod racer?
I think it hits one of his engines.
Oh, no.
It's speeding so fast. He's got a head start that it doesn't do full damage, but now he is smoking.
He's smoking. Okay.
Billow smoking. So now he's not going as fast, and she's able to catch up a little bit.
Okay.
In her little foot speeder.
He's lost an arm, he's lost an engine, but that's pod racing.
Yeah.
He'll continue.
Yeah. So as TC-14 gets closer, what do you think happens, Jamie? Does she try to ram his pod racer? Does she jump from her ship to his pod racer? What happens?
See, he's in a race and she's in a chase.
Yeah.
So, just stated the obvious there, didn't I? But I guess the mentality
Not obvious. It's a good insight.
Different, because at this point, I feel like he's sort of taking the track, whether he knows that he's on the track or not.
It's just instinct,
and she is just following his every move as opposed to trying to overtake him. Right. So I like to think that there's going to be something a little bit more of a net in her Wookiee cruiser type thing, sort of Ewok style net involved. So I think she's going to, at this point where he's stunned, he's lost an engine, she's going to launch a net.
Yeah.
This is the best Kenner playset we've ever had.
This is amazing. Yeah, I think she, in fact, launches over him. She overtakes him and shoots the net backwards behind her.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
So she goes around him.
Yeah, like I think she flies over him and then just firing from, but the ass of the Wookiee speeder.
Right.
Giant net. And I think at this point, Wookiees, they've been in there cooking, making roast bantha and all the things that Wookiees make. Now they're all coming out of their houses and watching this.
We have an audience.
Yeah. They think a Wookiee audience, right? And like, what does like kind of like mumbling red leather, yellow leather background Wookiee noise sound like between the two of you? Perfect.
We nailed it. We nailed it, Jamie.
Nailed it.
We're now Foley artists for Lucasfilm after that.
Matthew Wood is listening for sure. What happens to Gasgano, Ken, when his pod racer gets caught up in a net?
So I looked up his pod, which you had mentioned the name of, I believe. The Ord Pedrovia.
Pod racer, green Ord Pedrovia.
And it's the big one, Jamie. See, it's got the big engines there. It's mentioned by Foods and Bead in their intro. It's I forget which one speaks Huttese. Is it Bead?
I don't know off the top of my head.
One is Greg Proops and the other is Huttese. They actually say it by name.
Oh yeah,
apparently in the movie. So one engine's damaged. I think the net. The point is, if you guys are listening, pull over to the side of the road and look up the Ord Pedrovia. Pedrovia. By the way, PED is in the name of this. He definitely cheats. It's big, so the net only gets part of it. And I think it goes around one of the engines. And I had this happen once on the freeway. I was driving over by Universal.
What?
I had Universal with a net? I was attacked with a net. No. Universal Studios 101 South, a piece of cardboard went up on the road and hit the front of my car.
Oh, no.
And the gravity, the G-forces, I was driving so fast in my Camry, it stuck around, and my engine started to overheat immediately, and I had to pull off on Lancashire and go to a gas station, pull this thing off. It actually just kind of fell off. But it was weird. It hit me, and my engine just immediately couldn't vent, and it overheated. Okay. So I think this net, it's a thick Wookiee
high
rope.
Quality, right? Yeah.
Boom, goes over the engine. Now his other engine is overheating. The other one's billowing with smoke. This one's overheating.
This is dangerous. He is going to crash into a giant Wookiee tree. And
he's gone lopsided, I guess.
Yes.
The weight on
one
side is pulling it down.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Good quality rope, of course.
Yeah, so it's pulling it down. It's getting dangerously close to the trees, almost hitting them at their bases. And Fode, who is the one who speaks in an easy, basic drawl, according to the internet, is like, oh no, I think some Wookiees are gonna die.
Somewhere we this all shoots past the two, and we cut to Mala in her hut, and the thing shakes, and she's making dinner or something. She's really upset. And Lumpy's just
it's like a Jurassic Park moment. We just see the broth.
Yes.
The vibrations of the broth. The Wookiee broth.
And Itchy's just watching Diane Carroll on the Wookiee porn.
His human porn shakes a little, like Jurassic Park, kind of, but not really. Anyway, oh boy, is Gasgano in trouble. And I think TC-14 is going to go in for the kill. I think TC-14 does this amazing backwards somersault from her Wookiee speeder to land on Gasgano's pod racer, which is careening wildly. She gets to Gasgano.
Yeah.
She puts her metal hands on Gasgano's spindly neck and begins to squeeze the life out of him and say in her very pleasant voice, "You are weaker than us, and the galaxy will know that."
By the way, at some point she hung out with L3 before this, probably.
Yeah. This speeder could crash anywhere. It could hurt innocent Wookiees. Both Gasgano and TC-14 could die, or TC-14 could choke the life out of Gasgano before the crash even happens. And as we always do, we pause near the end of our combat, and we discuss who should win in a just galaxy, who do we want to win out of personal bias, all those kind of things. So, Ken, I will start with you. Who do you think should win this strange combat?
I mean, at this point, definitely TC-14 has the advantage, but I got to be honest. I'm kind of rooting for Gasgano. I don't think this is fair. I think TC-14, you either die a hero on the Trade Federation ship, or you live to become the villain. And
she did.
This is the case.
Yeah.
She's a little Two-Face. Yeah.
How are you feeling, Jamie?
I feel sorry for Gasgano.
Yeah.
Like Ken said, he was there to race. He was there to sort of seal his legacy. I feel like he was there for the right reasons, and he had every right to be fearful of the treachery of what that course had in front of him. But, TC-14 is not a pod racer, so therefore I lean more towards TC-14.
Oh, wow.
And
I love that.
Yeah. But I don't know if I want Gasgano to die.
Yeah.
That's a bit harsh.
It's hard, especially after what happened.
A lesson.
What happened to Rats Tyrell. It's a little known fact, Gasgano actually every year sends money to the Tyrell family.
He sends them a fruit basket. Yeah. And money. All right. Okay, here's I was leaning towards Gasgano should come out of this with something. I feel like TC-14 is clearly the better physical combatant. This is a trap that she laid. She's full of weaponry. She is superior when it comes to fighting, but I want Gasgano to get something. So I think that we should tell a story in which TC-14 wins the combat, but Gasgano has the ultimate moral victory, or that perhaps Gasgano gets what he was after.
Okay.
I mean, essentially, we should let the Wookiees win, of course, but are
saying
Gasgano then goes on to finish the race?
I kind of think so, and I think the way this happens is as it's and I'll come to you for some input, friends. I think that if events were just going to proceed the way they would, Gasgano would be dead. She is choking the life out of him. His big owl eyes are rolling to the back of his head. Yeah, he's making horrible choking noises. Just They're like an owl who cannot hoot. Very, very painful noises, and just the terror as people are getting the camera close-ups of TC-14's unmoving face as she's like, "You deserve death. You deserve death." The Wookiees intervene. I think some proud Wookiees jump and swing from their homes, and they land on this pod racer. It's going even crazier, and as Wookiees do, they help Gasgano out by they reach down and they rip the arms off of TC-14.
I mean, I think in honor of our friend Jamie, who has designed his whole life around being a Wookiee, I think one of them is Chewbacca.
Absolutely.
A young Chewbacca.
What does Chewbacca sound like as he rips a limb off TC-14? That was great. That was nice and to the point.
That was your best one yet, sir.
Yep.
But what does TC sound like?
Oh, sounds like Mrs. Doubtfire at this point.
Some of her programming was in her arms, which she had to reroute a lot of subroutines.
A lot of pain.
And some of her voice protocols are in her arms, so now she sounds like Mrs. Doubtfire. Oh my! But unfortunately for Gasgano, the Wookiees rip the limbs off, but it's still choking Gasgano. And I think TC-14 still has more weapons. I think a vibro blade comes out of her knee.
Wow.
And she starts swinging at the Wookiees. I think the Wookiees have to jump to freedom, to safety. And I think as Gasgano is sort of desperately piloting this pod race, as he's almost losing consciousness, he is hearing the pod race announcer. He's hearing Foden Bede going, "Amazing! I don't know if he's doing it on purpose, but he's flying the race, the actual track. The track he said was too dangerous." He's winking in and out of consciousness, and he's seeing all of these proud Wookiees going. He doesn't speak Wookiee, but he knows that they're saying, "You can do it.
You can do it.
And
you can do it." Yes, yeah.
He's feeling this energy, this pride, and he realizes if he can get TC-14 off his damaged pod racer, he can finish it. So, Jamie, what do you think he does to get TC-14 off his pod racer, complete his legacy?
What he does, what it sounds like is twit, 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 just all of his twit-toying might.
Yes.
He actually does something in a pod racer that, like, maybe slams the brakes.
Ooh, yeah.
And TC's not ready for this.
No.
The grip
flings
not
off.
firm enough. Hits a tree, shower head breaks off.
Yeah, shower head breaks off, and I think the shower head breaks off, and I think she falls. She starts to eject weird poisons, random blasters, but she gets speared right in the clear design flaw of protocol droids. The random exposed wires. The designer who said, "Hey, what if their intestines were open to the world?" She gets speared on a tree branch, and it's
wires and servos.
Just hanging there.
And dirty now?
I think she's dirty and alive and has her terrible Mrs. Doubtfire voice. And so she's like, "Oh, I'm so dirty."
And what if she had actually played like the Mrs. Doubtfire role for a young family of Wookiees, and obviously they're now like mourning round her, and this is quite a sad scene.
It is. Maybe that'll be her future. But so Gasgano, it gets TC-14 off.
Yeah.
Ken, does Gasgano manage to finish this race, and if so, how?
He pedals on, gasping for air, heads down one of the trees, down a track. Fodes and Bede are just like, "Wow, look at this! We have got a photo finish. It's Gasgano versus his own mortality." And he heads down. All the Wookiees are cheering. Chewie has jumped off. And it's got, it just gives him a salute. Itchy is still in the house watching Diane Carroll. Mala is like cooking the soup. And he just, the pod starts to actually lose energy, lose fuel, lose just its life. But
I like, you know what? I think it even, I think it craps out just like feet. from the finish line. And I think Gasgano himself gets out. He's got the one dangling limp limb, and the rest of the limbs grab his pod race and begin to pull it across the line.
In 1992, the Olympics, a runner pulls a hamstring, and he's running around. You can look this up on YouTube, and he's injured, but he's going to finish the race. His dad comes running out of the crowd, pushes past security, goes to his son, puts his son's arm around his shoulder, and carries him to the finish line.
Is that real?
It's real. It's real.
The analogy I was going for was the Cool Runnings.
It brings me to tears sometimes. It's one of the greatest moments in sports. I think the Wookiees see what's happening, and Gasgano, with all his might, is trying to push his pod across the finish line.
Yeah.
And the Wookiees look at each other and go, and one by one, they rush out, and they all push the pod across the finish line.
And suddenly, joining the Wookiees at the last second, the whole Rats Tyrell family.
They landed. Rats Tyrell II was going to join the race.
They join in, and there's so much love. The Wookiees sing a Wookiee song of victory and Bon Ami.
Dry eye in the treehouse.
Not a dry eye in the treehouse. And Gasgano, wounded but still proud, holds most of his arms up in victory.
And Foden Beat are just, wow, what a finish to the race!
And it's a galaxy record. I mean, he set the record, essentially.
He set the record, yeah. And he made it true. He proved that this race can be done.
And for the first time in his career, he hears the words out of the announcers, Gasgano finished in first place!
I mean, technically also last, but more importantly, first. And I think that is the end of our combat, but sometimes we have little post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
What do we think happens to TC-14? Jamie, you had some thoughts of what the Wookiees made of TC-14. Give us a little post-credit scene. What happens? What do the Wookiees do with TC-14?
I think we see Mrs. Doubtfire montage. Like, she's got shaving foam or whatever it was on her face, and she's on a bike ride with the Wookiee children, and that's what I want, Mrs. Doubtfire montage. And the montage can end, perhaps, Rocky style, with one of Gasgano's 3 remaining arms just punching the air. Freeze frame.
Oh, yeah, freeze frame. Yeah, I love it. That is beautiful. The droids force TC-14 to learn kindness. Ken, any final thoughts?
No. Years later, at a pod racing convention, Gasgano is there, injured arm still. His mobility's a little, but he signs autographs for young fans. For young fans, indeed. And he's on Tatooine, actually.
Oh, wow.
And he's signing one of them. And a young farm boy, about 10 years old, walks up to him and says, I'm going to be the fastest pilot in the galaxy. I'm going to get off this rock. You're an inspiration to me, Gasgano. And Gasgano just says, goo, goo, goo. And the kid says, oh, make it out to Luke.
Beautiful.
And he signs the autograph.
Beautiful. Perfect ending. See, we go through the violence and the horror so we can get to the beauty, just like in real life. Thank you, Jamie, so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun.
This is a very bizarre thing to ask people to do, but man, you were up to the challenge. Great, great Gasgano voice.
Yeah.
It is now.
That was thank you.
Ken.
That was thank you indeed.
Good.
I seriously will not, when I watch Phantom Menace often, I will not see Gasgano the same again without hearing cuckoo, cuckoo,
Cool. Man, I'm going to just loop that into my copy of Phantom Menace somehow. Get that cooing noise right in there. As always, listeners, if there are characters that you would like to see fight on Databank Brawl, let us know. Use the hashtag Databank Brawl so we can find them on Twitter or Facebook. Ken, where can people find you?
Hey, you can find me on all social media platforms at Ken Napzok. That includes Twitch. I haven't hooked up a Nintendo 64 yet because some tech problems, but one day I will, and I'll pod race for all of you to see on my stream.
And Jamie, where can people find you on social media and your awesome YouTube channel?
Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube, all Jamie Stangroom.
Okay, just your name, straightforward. Nice. Thank you again so much for joining us. We always like to thank Tony Thaxton. He wrote the theme music for Databank Brawl. He has a great Patreon where he writes funny Star Wars songs. That is at patreon.com/Cloud City Soundtrack. We are on Patreon. That's patreon.com/ForceCenter. You can also buy our merch, including our Whiskey Jedi shirt that happened because of this show, because of Databank Brawl. That's on tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. You can, of course, find Databank Brawl episodes on YouTube as well. We haven't done this in a while, but we want to do a Databank Brawl episode featuring major characters. We will do an episode featuring big main Star Wars characters when we get to 500 reviews on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. So if you haven't rated or reviewed us yet, go and do that. You can find my other podcast, Obsessed, and all my comedy shows and everything at my website at josephscrimshaw.com. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram is at Joseph Scrimshaw. You can like ForceCenter on Facebook and follow us on Twitter is at ForceCenterPod. And until next time, as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening to him. I care. That's it for Databank Brawl.